Hey, you. You there with the muff on your mitt. I'd like some information.
Oui, monsieur?
What's wrong, pal? Do you always act this scared? Or is it only when you're frightened?
You are expected, monsieur?
I might be. If this modest little cottage is what Ziggy Cranston calls home.
Mais oui, monsieur. His house, she's there.
You got a nice friendly way of receiving visitors.
Maybe next time you'll be on the receiving end, wise guy.
Don't look now, Frenchie, but your accent's showing. I'll be seeing you, Pally, out of the corner of my eye.
Did you ring, sir?
No, I was tolling. I thought you were all dead. Tell Mr. Cranston he has company.
Begging your pardon, sir, but Mr. Cranston is not entertaining.
That's all right. Don't apologize. I meet a lot of dull people. Where is he?
I said he was not receiving.
And I heard you.
If you're looking for trouble, I have it here.
This is no way to win friends and influence people. No bazooka. I'm the brains type.
Oh. Daniel J. Turner, private investigator. Licensed by the New York Police Commission. Well, I guess everything's in order, Mr. Turner. Welcome to California.
Seen better welcomes on doormats.
I'm sorry. I have to take precautions. Sit down and I'll pour you a drink.
Pour it in your oil lamps. I'm more interested in Gitas.
Let's get to the point. I presume you've heard of me and my enterprises.
Yeah, I've heard of you. Ziggy Cranston, entertainment tycoon with the Midas touch. Genius of show business. Permanent partner of Lady Luck. You're the only man who ever had 5 smash hits running on Broadway simultaneously. You're also owner of Consolidated Radio Network. Did I forget anything?
On the contrary. If you were a doctor, I'd say you knew your patient.
Well, maybe you better give me the sad news about what ails the patient.
Blackmail. I'm being made the victim of a vicious, contemptible shakedown.
Well, you know, I came in the middle of the picture, and blackmail comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes. You better tell me how you got fitted.
I have one weakness. Gambling. That's always been a part of me. The other part of me is luck. That combination has brought me success. And all this. Lately, I've been trying my luck at the Silver Swan Casino. Several nights ago, I was at my customary place at the table.
Hold down, here's the winner. Number 4, it's black and even.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. Place your bets.
No more for me. I'm cashing in.
Why, you're riding one of your winning streaks, Mr. Cranston.
Even that can become boring after a while. Right now, going home and getting some sleep might seem like a novelty.
As you wish, sir.
Wally.
Good night, Mr. Cranston.
Good night.
Put that on 10, Mary.
Place your bets. Place your bets.
Evening, Tom.
Hi, Miss Cranston. Another parsonage.
Leaving so soon, Mr. Cranston? You should be glad to get rid of me. I'm becoming a bad risk to your business.
Taking risks is my business.
But the odds are in my favor. Having luck is an old habit of mine.
Maybe a few more spins of the wheel might cure it.
It amounts to 50,000 even, Mr. Cranston. We'll send a check over by messenger in the morning.
Thanks very much, Tom. Galloway, don't let this loss throw you. I'll be back again.
I'm counting on that.
In the meantime, I'll be expecting your messenger with the gift.
Let's say it's just a loan, shall we?
All right. As you say, just a loan. Good night.
Good night.
Why, Ziggy, darling.
Hello, Carla. That was a nice number you sang tonight.
Perhaps I sang it for you. Perhaps I was remembering the nights when you came here to call for me. But of course I couldn't compete with the roulette wheel or your outside interests.
Well, I have been busy.
I know. Busy with Sylvia Duane.
That's business. Miss Duane happens to be on my network, and she's a very promising artist.
You're the promising artist, Ziggy. You promised to make me a radio star, too. But unlike Miss Duane, I never got as far as the gossip columns or rumors of marriage.
Well, that was just a rumor.
It's all right. I don't hold any ill feelings. In fact, I'd like to drink a toast to your future happiness.
Thank you, Carla. I do appreciate your generous attitude, but really, I must be going.
Please, darling. One drink. Just for old time's sake.
Well, all right. Just one drink. It was to be as easy as that. So I permitted Carla to lead me toward the terrace. We found a secluded table and ordered our drinks. I had never quite trusted her and was impatient to get things over with. We raised our glasses and drank. I congratulated myself on the opportunity of shaking Carla off so cheaply. We sat quietly for a moment. And suddenly, I began feeling dizzy. Everything was swimming before me. I began to sway in my chair. I felt myself slipping away into a void. The world went black. When I awoke, it was morning. I found myself in Carla's penthouse.
With or without the tomato that slipped you the Shanghai ball?
Carla, you mean? She was gone. I got out of there as fast as I could and decided to forget the whole thing. In a few days, these photographs arrived.
Well, who sent them to you?
They were mailed in a plain envelope.
The album was never like this.
It's an out-and-out frame.
Yeah, and you're right in the middle of it. Well, what was the next play?
Carla telephoned. She said she knew how I could get the negatives. I arranged to visit her that very night at her penthouse.
Good evening, Ziggy.
Hello, Carla.
Come in.
Thank you. Who else were you expecting?
No one else. I just wanted to be sure you came alone.
Well, suppose we make this brief. Where are those negatives?
Not that brief. How much are they worth to you?
Worth? I'm afraid I don't quite understand you, Carla.
Then I'll give it to you without trimming. Important negatives like those just aren't given away like free prizes on your radio shows, Mr. Cranston. There's usually a small charge for services rendered, depending on how anxious the prospective buyer is to close the sale. Now that we understand each other, suppose you start the bidding.
Just exactly what is this?
Let's be realistic, darling. You're interested in certain, shall we say, scandalous photographic negatives. I can personally guarantee that they'll be promptly delivered to you for a price.
You'll give me those negatives here and now, or I'll tear this place apart.
You didn't think I'd be fool enough to leave them here, did you? I placed them in safe hands.
Probably in the hands of that gigolo you've been running around with. You both worked out this plot together. But just why make me your victim?
Somebody has to pay my gambling losses, darling. I picked you for personal reasons.
Why, may I ask?
Maybe it's because you have the kind of bank account I've learned to love, Mr. Cranston. And maybe I don't like to see Sylvia Duane moving into that radio spot you promised me, or taking my place in your alleged affections. In either case, the cost will be the same. $50,000.
Why, that's fantastic. This is nothing but a shakedown, and I won't submit to it.
Then you'll submit to Miss Duane's opinion of you when she sees those photographs?
I've told Sylvia the whole thing, and she believes in me. Nothing that you can do will influence her.
Not even making the pictures public?
I don't think you'd try that, Carla.
I'd try a lot of things for $50,000. Darling.
I realized I was beaten. I had to meet Carla's demand. There was nothing else I could do. The next day I read in the paper she was dead. Found a body at the bottom of an air shaft. She must have died shortly after I left. She either was pushed or fell from the penthouse window. Police were investigating both theories.
Well, the bulls horned in yet?
Who?
The coppers, the Johnny Laws. Have they been here yet?
Well, why should they?
Well, you know, sooner or later, they might get the notion that you might have pushed this babe out the window to save yourself a buck.
Oh, that's utterly ridiculous.
All right, it's utterly ridiculous. What time did you leave the girl's apartment?
About 8:15.
Did anybody see you?
Possibly, but nobody who could identify me.
Look, you don't have to be socially introduced for a witness to give a pretty good description of you. And if anyone was listening outside Carla's door, they might figure that blackmail would smell like a pretty strong murder motive.
Mr. Turner, I'm not denying that I had a motive, but I did not kill her.
I didn't say you did. There was another gee with a heavy motive.
Who?
The guy she was going around with. He might have held on to the negatives and bumped her to cash in solo. What's his name?
I don't know. He works at the casino. He's hired to escort gambling-minded dowagers to the gaming room.
What's in there?
A hothouse. I cultivate rare plants and flowers.
Well, it sounds like one of your ice plants are throwing out. Don't leave this room.
Don't move, sweetheart. This thing doesn't shoot marshmallows.
Hello, pal. You knocked over one of Mr. Cranston's prized dilly lilies. He isn't going to like that.
There are other things Mr. Cranston isn't going to like. Drop that gun.
On the floor, it might go off.
Let's not get technical. Drop it. Now, let's go in and join our host. Keep those hands up and start walking.
What is this? Animal, mineral, or vegetable?
He's the gigolo from the casino. What are you doing here?
I've been listening in on your spiel about Carla's death. It wasn't very convincing, Cranston.
It's the truth.
Besides, you were given orders not to call in the law. Maybe you can't take orders. You big shots only know how to give them.
All right, bright boy, so you're giving the orders. What's on your mind?
50,000 was the asking price. But there'll be a cover charge of another 100 G's for Carla's murder.
Well, Sonny, there's several reasons why Mr. Cranston won't be able to play with you. 5 to be exact.
What are they?
4 fingers and a thumb. I've seen shows like this before. The hero wants to rub out a shakedown artist, so he hires a shamus to put him in the clear while he bumps off the blackmailer.
Who bumped the blackmailer?
Now, you're not going to alter the act and tell me that you didn't do that.
I didn't kill him. I was merely...
Peggy! I was just getting out of my car when I heard a shot. Is anything wrong?
Nothing much, beautiful. The guy in the drink always swims like that.
Oh, he's dead. Who is he? What happened?
Mild case of homicide. Your boyfriend here just passed his entrance exams to San Quentin.
What? What is he saying?
He's trying to say that I murdered him. But I didn't. I swear I didn't.
I suppose this gun just sprouted in your Duke like a daffodil.
Now listen, you've got to. I was chasing him. He was heading toward the pool. A shot rang out and he pitched into the water. Why, the gun was on the ground a minute ago. I just picked it up before you got here. That's the absolute truth. You believe me, don't you?
I don't know.
You must believe me. It was somebody else. There had to be.
Who else?
Well, I don't know. I didn't actually see anyone.
I'll say you didn't. Whoever fired that murder slug was the Invisible Man.
Can't you say something to convince him I'm innocent?
I'm all confused. I don't even know who this man is.
This is Dan Turner, the private detective that I hired to track down the blackmailers.
That's what you'd like me to swallow, but it's gagging me. Suppose we let Homicide chew on it for a little while.
Homicide?
Yeah, I think I'll buzz them.
Now listen, Turner, I'm not a criminal. I'm a respected citizen. Give me a break, won't you?
Keep zagging, Siggy. What's the idea of that?
You can't call the police over a dead wire.
Well, maybe there's another telephone in California.
Well, while you're looking for one, you'll have to listen to me. Now, look, Turner, I'll make you a proposition. You help me hide the body somewhere. Let it be discovered anywhere but here on this estate. I'll pay you well. Say, $5,000.
No, let's not say that.
Would $10,000 interest you? You'd have to work a long time to realize that.
Right now, I realize something else. I'd be obstructing justice, compounding a felony, and slipping my noggin in a noose. No thanks. With you and Miss Duane here in on the deal, I'd be dancing to your boogie-woogie the rest of my life. You keep your 10 G's, sweetheart. I'll keep my conscience. Move on, Midas. Go on.
How does 20,000 strike you?
Like this.
My, what a big, strong man you are. Has anyone ever called you Samson?
Yeah. A few Delilahs who tried to get in my hair.
Well, what are you going to do with him, Muscles?
There's a gas station about a mile down the road. I'm going to tote him along to keep me company.
Homicide, Inspector Donaldson speaking. Dan Turner. This must be my unlucky month. When did you get in town and when are you going to leave? Ziggy Cranston? Sure, I know him. I read a newspaper once. He what? Cranston killed a man. Yeah, I'll be right out. Gas station. Check.
Round this way, Donaldson.
Stay here, Fred.
Yes.
Well, a perfect spot for dunking crumpets.
Yeah. For dunking stiffs. Come on.
All right, where's the stiff? What's the gag?
I don't know, but it isn't funny.
Why, Ziggy, what are those things doing on your wrist?
Hey, what is this, an act? Where's that body?
Body? What body is he talking about, Ziggy?
That's what I'd like to know. I've been arrested for something that never happened. I was strolling around the grounds here when this maniac jumped out of his car and knocked me out. When I came to, this other hoodlum was with him. And they dragged me here.
Well, how dare they? These men should be turned over to the police.
Pardon me, madam, while I show my badge. Who is this bright young tomato?
She's this year's choice for misinformation. All right, you two, now you had your fun. Now, where's that body?
What body?
Look, sweetheart, when I left here, there was a body in that pool, and now it's gone.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They don't either. They're trying to incriminate me in a murder that never happened while I stand here and change.
Don't worry, darling. Give the dogs enough leash. You can sue them later for assault, kidnapping, false arrest, illegal detention, and slander.
Wait a minute, Turner. I'm not so sure the right people are being questioned. What are you trying to pull?
What do you think I'm doing, making this up as I go along?
That's what it sounds like. You better change your brand of tobacco. It's giving you pipe dreams.
I didn't dream up that evidence, that gun of Cranston's that's got the slug fired from it, did I?
Hey, he's got something there. What did you shoot?
Quail. They're all over the place.
That I can believe.
You guys don't need me. You need a game warden. His word's as good as yours, Turner.
Is it? Well, wait till you lamp the shambles in the hothouse and in the study, where the dead guy battled me and the big quail hunter here.
You'll get a chance to see it.
Yeah, and you'll find the dead duck's prints all over the liquor glass.
All that doesn't mean a thing without the corpus delicti.
Miss Innocent bystander here, while I was gone, fished the dead guy out of the pool and stashed him somewhere.
Oh, I see.
You see what?
I see you've blown a fuse. I got a big picture of this frail young thing dragging a water-soaked cadaver out of that pool and hiding him. Particularly the cadaver big enough to kick you and Cranston around like a couple of cream puffs.
It could be done with help. And that's just what she had, hired help.
Like who?
Like Cranston's chauffeur, a guy that calls himself Antoine.
Oh, now we got a chauffeur to curdle the milk.
Well, why not? When I got here, he threw a slug at me. I let him have one and jarred him loose from his French accent.
That doesn't make him an accomplice.
I'll get evidence for that.
I wouldn't lay any bets on it. Seems to me you're letting your imagination run away with you. Why don't you do yourself a favor and run away with it?
You contemptible faker. When I hired you, I understood you were French.
You advertised for a foreign chauffeur because you wanted to put on a big Hollywood front. I needed a job, so I obliged with the accent.
Supposing we put the accent on the corpse, where did you bury Mr. X?
Mr. Who?
Oh, my error. You couldn't know what I'm talking about. You didn't help Miss Duane drag a body from the pool because there isn't any body. Now listen, you. You better begin opening that yap of yours, or you're going to do it down at headquarters under a bright light.
Okay. So there is a body connected with the pool. Yours.
Remember me?
I can't place the face. But the figure's familiar.
Drink this.
Oh, no, you don't, dollface. I had enough to drink when I was underwater. Antoine and Cranston, where are
Now,
those?
take it easy. Mr. Cranston is in his room resting. Antoine's at headquarters. Inspector Donaldson had him arrested for butting you in the pool. If that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, well, it helps. He's got to finish his singing lesson. Hey, you don't seem to like that, gorgeous. Antoine must know who bumped the gee. You couldn't stand having the lid pried off that box, could you, Pandora?
You'll still need a body to prove murder before you can convict an innocent man. No corpse, no case. And with no case, I'm afraid you're wasting your time around here. Perhaps you better leave.
All right, babe. That's the way you feel about it? Thanks for the brush off. Oh. Would you be so kind as to send in the butler with my hat and my pants?
Hey, for your information, I have a front door and a clerk that announces all callers, even Shamuses and other vermin.
What is this, a Bureau of Homicide or insecticide? Bring out phony Francois, will you? I want to spring the 64,000 franc question at him.
He's already been sprung.
You told me on that phone an hour ago you had him on ice.
All right, so right after that, somebody bailed him out. After all, we only had him on an assault rap.
And all I was the makings of a first-class murder rap. Who sprung him?
Cranston, and why not? Viva la Frenchie's his chauffeur, and help's hard to get these days.
So's the missing corpse, sweetheart. Give me a light.
When are you going to stop chasing phantom stiffs and badgering innocent people? We checked on the chauffeur. Found out he's an ex-GI with an honorable discharge from the Signal Corps.
Maybe he got his signals mixed.
You're the one that's mixed up. While you were sleeping off that pool, Jag, we cased the whole Cranston estate, even the garage and servants' quarters.
And the hothouse?
And the hothouse. No sign of a fight. No glass with fingerprints on it, and no gun that you were howling about. We even quizzed the servants. They didn't see a murder, hear a shot, or see anybody drag a body out of a pool.
Bribery might account for that.
I'm going to send you to Psycho for having hallucinations.
So the hallucination had a scar under his left eye, like I told you. But of course, you wouldn't look at the records.
Yeah. You look. There's a complete file on all con men with scars like that. You know, I don't get your angle. A private eye comes all the way from New York to see a big shot like Ziggy Cranston. Hey, maybe you're an autograph hound.
Something like that. I want to get his name on a check.
A check for what?
Look, you know better than that. Legally, I don't have to show you my client's dirty laundry.
Your client? What kind of a double-dealing gumshoe are you? Trying to pin a murder rap on your client.
I don't like murder. And up to now, Cranston's the #1 suspect.
You know, I smell another reason. With Ziggy Cranston out of the way, Sylvia Duane would be a nice chick to make music with. Wouldn't she, Turner?
Now, I hope you're not suggesting that I'd frame Cranston just to steal his cupcake.
That's one way of getting her.
I got other things to get. Him, for instance. Did you ever see that kisser before?
Sure. Goes under the name of Blue Chip Winslow. What about him?
That's the dead gent that was in Cranston's pool.
Are you sure of that?
I'm positive.
Winslow's just a small fry con man. What would a respectable citizen like Ziggy Cranston have in common with a petty gambler?
Gambling. It's in Cranston's blood. The guy's so lucky they call him King Midas. Suppose he meets Winslow somewhere, and they play games. Winslow loses heavily, becomes desperate. He goes out to Cranston's estate with a demand. He gets knocked off. How am I doing?
Very thin, Turner.
It could get thicker. Where does this Winslow hang out?
I don't know. The last I heard of him, he was running around with a wealthy dowager. Give me a light.
I'm not interested in the guy's affairs, just his address.
You might try 29 Laurel Road.
Thanks, pal. I owe you a favor.
You owe me your life. I fished you out of that pool, remember? Incidentally, ruined my best suit.
All right, so I'll give you the $14.95.
Hey, if you're going where I think you're going to stand a rap for housebreaking.
Write me a letter about it sometime, will you, sweetheart? It's all right, pal. You're among enemies. What are you doing here? Listen, tight-lips. I want some answers. I want you to talk and tell me things. Don't make me pound it out of you. You're messed up in this murder up to your eyebrows.
Is this an arrest?
It's showing symptoms. How'd you get in here?
I got in through an open window.
What for? Start telling me the intimate details.
My name is Timkin. I lost my bearings.
Don't get coy with me, Frenchie. Now listen, you. I've been knocked in the head, and I've been pushed in a pool, and I'm getting sore. Now, either you're in business for yourself, or somebody's got you running errands. Which is it?
I was just trying to help Mr. Cranston.
Quit nibbling around the edges. Bite into it.
Okay. Mr. Cranston wanted to set a negative somebody was blackmailing him with. He thought they might be hidden here in the Winslow house. So he sent me to look for them.
Did you find them?
No, I didn't.
It's funny. I found him. You made a mistake letting me catch you with these. This little slip links you up with Winslow's death rattles.
I didn't kill him. You're only guessing.
That kind of guessing can crowd you into a gas chamber. How long you known Winslow?
You can't trip me. I didn't know him.
Of course you didn't know him. You were just walking in your sleep, and you dreamed up his home address.
I got the address from Mr. Cranston.
Where'd he get it?
You'll have to ask him.
That's just what I intend to do. You and I are going to go call on Mr. Cranston. We're going to hear his story. Let's go.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I accept full responsibility for Antoine's. I took him into my confidence and instructed him to help find these negatives. Anything he did was at my bidding. Obviously, he's been more helpful on the case than you have.
All right, rich boy. That puts the cherry driver in the clear, but not you. You denied knowing Winslow's moniker. And it comes out you even know the guy's address.
I can explain that, but I prefer to keep it confidential. You may go, Antoine.
Thank you, sir.
But don't go far. You're still a material witness, pal. Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Closing a blackmail case.
And I'm tearing over the murder case. Now, do I get some answers, or do I have to get tough?
I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
We'll start with what you do know, then, like Winslow's address.
Well, Sylvia found it in the wallet that Winslow dropped during the fight in the study.
Well, things are beginning to mesh. It was also Sylvia who cleaned up the hothouse and the study. She got rid of the liquor glass and the gun. She moved the dead guy from the pool. Now, do I find the dead guy, or do I have to cave in some ribs?
I don't know where the body is. I give you my oath. Sylvia took the body from the pool. She admitted that. But she said she did it to keep me out of trouble.
That's a noble gesture on her part. Evidence of her true love. Now, where'd she hide the dead guy?
I don't know. She didn't tell me. She said it would be better if I didn't know.
That's very thoughtful of her, since she considered that you were the murderer.
You're wrong, Turner. Sylvia believes in my innocence. That's why she went to bat for me. She figured I had no logical motive for killing Winslow.
Blackmail's a beautiful motive. And thanks to you, I know how to crack Sylvia Duane.
What do you mean? How?
When she concealed that body, she made herself an accessory to homicide. And the home for gals who do that is Tehachapi State Prison.
Why don't you stop badgering Sylvia and me, Turner? There must be other suspects, other leads you could track down.
There is another lead. But I had to know what happened here before I could tackle it. You checked out of the Silver Swan with a pretty good chunk of dough, didn't you?
About $50,000. I believe I told you that.
Well, it could add up this way. You win 50 G's at a gambling spree at the Silver Swan. Pretty soon, somebody tries to put the pitch on you for the identical amount. How does that sound to you?
Coincidence, I suppose.
Well, I don't like that kind of coincidence. Especially since your ex-girlfriend, Carla, and the dead gent in your pool both worked at the Silver Swan.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to tuck on my tux and try my luck. All I can lose is my money.
Number 27, that's odd and
Come on, let's get
All right, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets. Place your bets.
Good evening, sir.
Has Winslow been around lately?
I beg your pardon, sir.
Why? What did you do?
You mentioned a name, sir. I'm afraid I didn't quite catch it.
Well, see if you can feel this one any better. Has Blue Chip been around lately?
Blue Chip?
What are you, little Sir Echo? Yeah, little boy Blue Chip.
I don't believe I've seen you around. Your face doesn't seem very familiar.
I never look familiar to strangers, pal.
Will you have a drink, sir?
Yeah, give me a dry martini.
Olive, sir?
No. It takes up too much room in the glass.
Good evening.
I was wondering when somebody like you was going to show up. The kid here was running out of ways to stall me.
You, asked to see somebody?
Not that I remember. I just wondered if Blue Chip Winslow had been around lately.
Are you a friend of his?
Yeah, we met in a couple of places.
You're being rather vague. Maybe you'd like to tell a place where it's private.
Yeah, maybe I would. Suppose you lead the way. Oh, wait a minute. Say, Goldilocks, how about that drink?
You wouldn't like it, sir. I accidentally put an olive in it.
Very funny.
Who is he?
Said he knows Winslow.
What is your business with Mr. Winslow?
I got no business with him. I just asked if he'd been around lately.
Let's not get technical. I want to know what your interest is in Winslow.
Just don't take that attitude. We're not going to get anywhere.
Go ahead, talk.
Talk, huh? Wouldn't you rather hear me whistle?
Frisk him, Pinky. So you're a New York private detective, Mr. Turner. You've strayed a little out of your territory, haven't you?
Yeah, I like to play in other people's backyards.
Never mind the wisecracks. Who hired you to check up on one of my employees?
Oh, well, it's nice of you to admit that Blue Chip was one of your employees.
Why do you say was?
Because I met was. The guy's dead.
How did he die?
He was murdered.
Maybe you better tell me the rest of it.
He was killed at the home of a Hollywood playboy, Ziggy Cranston. I think you know him.
We know if we had his luck, they'd say we were crooked. He waltzed out of here with 50 grand and never came back.
Cut it, Pinky.
Let him beef. Your undercover rackets don't concern me, unless they include murder.
What gave you the idea it did?
Winslow was the second one of your employees to make a quick exit. Carla, the dame that sang for you, got it first.
Carla accidentally fell out of a hotel window. We saw that in the newspapers.
Yeah, I read Buck Rogers in the newspapers, but I don't believe it.
You think we had something to do with their death, so you came down here. Is that it?
Yeah, that could be it.
You're gambling for high stakes, Turner. I'm going to call you. Let's see the rest of your cards.
Cranston is being framed with some snapshots taken the night his drink was spiked in this joint. It's an old, reliable blackmail angle. Or isn't that news to you?
I don't think I like your insinuations, Turner.
I'm not asking you to like him, Pally. I'm telling you. Two of your associates were mixed up in a deal against my client. They outlived their usefulness to somebody, and somebody had them chopped. Now, do I find out who did the chopping, or do I have to holler copper?
Maybe you know something and maybe you don't. But my boys had nothing to do with the death of Carla or Winslow. We're gamblers, not killers.
I didn't hear you mention blackmailers.
My take is big enough without branching into sidelines.
Well, you're going to branch into the newspapers when it gets out that two of your people were murdered and one of your clients framed.
That's what I don't like about the whole thing. It's got to be proved that we weren't implicated. How much will $1,000 buy toward running down the killers without involving the casino?
$1,000 worth. I'll do what I can. But I'm not going to lay awake nights worrying about you.
Maybe I didn't make myself clear. This grand is a guarantee that nothing points to the Silver Swan.
Then the Silver Swan better not be implicated, or the guarantee expires. Just like that.
Let him out, Pinky.
I don't trust him, Spice. You're going soft-headed.
Hard-headed, Pinky. Let him out. Oh, Turner.
Yeah?
You can remind Cranston that we expect to see that 50 grand back in circulation.
I'll remember that. Good night, Pally. Where's the Quail?
The Quail, sir?
Miss Duane.
She's down at the pool taking a plunge, sir.
Good. I'll plunge a few questions at her in a minute.
Come on in, Turner. Sit down and have some breakfast.
I've had my breakfast.
What'd you find out last night?
I found a hit in the head, and then everything comes right back here.
Here? That's ridiculous.
How many servants you got in this futuristic mausoleum besides Antoine?
Why, 2. The maid and the butler. Why?
Do they know anything about your difficulties?
Well, only what they suspect.
You know, right now, it isn't too difficult for me to suspect you.
Me?
Yeah. Let's get them together and see if they suspect any more than I do. Yesterday afternoon, there was a murder committed down near the swimming pool of this shack. Did any of you happen to witness it? Did any of you hear a shot? Well, did anybody just happen to be looking toward the swimming pool and see Miss Duane drag a body from the water?
Miss Duane, sir? Oh, no, sir. It was precisely as we told the police when they investigated. None of us knew there had been a murder. You see, sir, to make the long story short...
Make it shorter. Where were you?
In the front part of the house, sir. Mamie, the maid
Mamie
was...
can speak for herself. Well, come on. Come on.
I was busy with my household duties in the East Wing, sir.
You've known for a long time that somebody was putting the squeeze on Mr. Cranston here for a lot of money, haven't you?
Oh, they couldn't possibly know that.
No coaching from the audience, please. Come on, Mamie, tell me. How much dirt have you picked up around here that didn't belong in the vacuum cleaner?
I beg your pardon, sir. I'm not one to pry into anybody's business. I don't know anything about anything.
Nobody knows anything about anything. You got enough alibis floating around here to overflow the swimming pool. There wouldn't be room for any corpse. Well, the lid's gonna blow off, Cranston, when Winslow's body shows up, and the bullet matches the one fired from your gun.
I don't know who killed him, and, well, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, you admit that Winslow was killed. You admit that a body vanished.
Well, yes, only
You heard him, all of you. Now remember that in case we need your testimony later. That'll be all. Well, go on, out. Shoo.
Turner, do your duties include intimidating my servants? If these people don't pack up and leave, it won't be because you haven't worked at it.
Well, with your luck, you'll get others. And the next ones will have blue uniforms and carry keys. I thought the phone was out of order.
I had it repaired this morning during your absence.
Mr. Cranston's residence. Who is calling, please?
Who is it, Jervis?
I don't know, sir. The party wouldn't give the name, only said to inform you that it was important.
Wait a minute. Does this phone connect with the one on the study?
Yes, it's an extension.
Wait till I give you the cue. Be careful what you say. This may be important.
Hello?
Listen close, Cranston, because I'm going to say this just once. You have until tonight to pay off that 150 grand. At 10 p.m., drive to Topanga Canyon and turn left when you reach the dirt lane. Leave the money in the first clump of bushes on your right. Remember, no private eyes watching from ambush. Cross me up and the police will find Winslow's body.
Hello? Hello? Did you recognize that voice?
No, I didn't. It was obviously disguised.
Who do you know that's that good?
Well, in the radio business, I meet any number of mimics. Dialects and voice changes are their stock in trade.
No, it'd have to be someone with a more personal contact. Antoine, for instance.
Why Antoine?
Oh, don't make me draw you a blueprint. You've already had a sample of the guy's French. Maybe he also imitates blackmailers.
I'm afraid it won't fit, Turner. Antoine was in here a moment ago with the rest of the servants. He couldn't have possibly gotten outside to a phone in time.
Miss Duane could have.
What do you mean?
She was the only one that wasn't present and accounted for. You see, Miss Cutie Pie's an actress. Masking her voice shouldn't be any problem. All she had to do was step into a phone booth, make it sound like 6 or 7 other people, and give you the business. She had the time and the opportunity.
Does that tell you anything, Mr. Turner? I hope that clears Miss Duane.
I'm not crossing anyone off the list yet. Is there a telephone extension down at the pool?
No. Just the one in the entrance hall and the other in the study.
Well, that's great. Now we got it narrowed down to all of Los Angeles. Anyone could have made the call.
What are you going to do?
At the moment, nothing. You're going to do it. You know, you got a stiff protection premium to meet tonight.
You wouldn't be thinking of selling me out, Turner.
Baby. I'm going to stick to you like a porous plaster.
$150,000 is a lot to pay for a plaster.
Not if it's guaranteed to give quick relief.
Well, what about Sylvia? She believes in my innocence. What is she going to think if I pay a blackmail demand?
What, is she your keeper? Can't you pay the premium without telling her?
I was supposed to take her to a concert tonight at the Hollywood Bowl.
Let her go bowling by herself. Tell her you got a business conference or a headache. Tell her anything that'll keep her busy while you collect your assets.
All right.
Good.
What will you be doing in the meantime?
You let me worry about me. You just start gathering up your wealth for the abdication, King Midas. I'll see you tonight. Oh, you know, it's really too bad that a simple little murder spoils your evening. Well, I didn't expect to see you so soon, Pally. Now we're even for that Sunday punch you slipped me last night.
I was only trying to do my job. The boss needs some information.
Yeah? Well, so do I. What's Kellaway's idea in having me shadowed?
He don't know nothing about it.
How come you're using his car?
Pinky arranged that.
Oh, Pinky. He's the little guy that didn't want Kellaway to hire me.
He don't trust you.
Well, now, ain't that too bad? Now, listen, you. You better open your yap, or I'm gonna open it for you.
Look, Turner, I'm giving it to you straight. If you don't believe me, you can check it.
Yeah, maybe I better do that. Pinky might be mixed up in a couple outside deals that Kellaway don't know nothing about.
Like what?
Like the shakedown at Cranston for the murder of Winslow and that Carla dame.
I gotta go back to the club.
Wait a minute. Here, take this grand back to Kellaway.
I can't do that. Kellaway will think that Pinky ignored his orders.
That's Pinky's problem. The way things are shaping up, I don't want any part of this dough.
Hey, what are you gonna do with those keys?
Just making sure I'm not gonna have any more interference from you tonight, bright boy. Look out.
You can't leave me out here. It's miles from town.
Call a cab. You got $1,000 for the fare.
That's all of it. $150,000.
Are you sure you know the routine? Yes, sir. I'm to drive Mr. Cranston's car to the summit of Topanga Canyon, take the dirt lane to my left, and leave the briefcase in the first clump of bushes I find on my right.
You get E for effort.
I hope you know what you're doing.
I hope you get your hope. Here's the plot. Antoine is to ditch this briefcase at the appointed spot. Meanwhile, you and I are going to go ahead to the Silver Swan and wait.
I thought you said that...
Never mind what you thought. Whoever's picking out that money is probably going to deliver it there. And you and I are going to be a little welcoming committee. Antoine, you leave in about 10 minutes. That'll put you there about right time. We'll go on ahead. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Her husband's home.
Say, aren't you headed in the wrong direction, Turner?
You know what always happens when I have the car washed? I can't do a thing with it.
I'm in no mood for humor. Just where are we going?
You wanted me to find you your blackmailer, didn't you?
Yes. But you said we'd find him at the Silver Swan.
I only said probably.
Just what are you insinuating?
Nothing yet. I'm still looking for the answers to a few loose questions, Ziggy. I think I know where to find them.
I got your very unenlightening message. What gives?
We're going to clear up the murder.
I thought you said there wasn't any murder.
Oh, yes, there was. Ziggy here finally admitted it in the presence of witnesses.
He confessed?
I didn't confess to anything, except that Winslow was shot and the body disappeared.
Look, Hawkshaw, I've told you before that none of this means anything without the corpus delicti.
Well, that remains to be seen. Let's go see.
Antoine's.
Shh. I'm going to go in and have a look. You stay here with Donaldson.
Is that you, darling?
Mm-hmm. Hi, Quail.
What are you doing here?
I figured you and Antoine were making jive together. I called before I left Ziggy's estate. When you answered, I knew I was right on the beam.
I can easily explain why I'm here.
Never mind. I'll do it for you. See, this all started when you set your snoot for Ziggy Cranston, made him fall in love with you. To you, Ziggy meant an opportunity to get on top of the Hollywood heap.
What is this? A mind-reading act?
No. Some of it's guesswork, but some of it's based on actual fact.
It better be, Shamus. If you broadcast anything about me that isn't true, I'll sue your pants off.
I'm going to risk that. Ziggy made his mistake when he let you in on the blackmail angle Carla was staging. You couldn't stand having a rival break in on your financial territory. So you knocked Carla off and decided to take over the shakedown yourself.
Dream on, darling.
Your little dream was shattered when you realized that Carla had a confederate who was raising the ante. So you had to get rid of him as you did Carla. You shot Winslow down at the pool, and you threw the gun at Cranston's feet.
Wonderful, Bloodhound. But how could I get a hold of Ziggy's gun?
You were standing outside the hothouse, and you saw me drop it in the flower pot. It had to be you, sweetheart, because everyone else had an alibi for those few minutes. Besides, you had the sweetest motive.
What motive, please?
You saw the possibility of a bigger shakedown if you could blackmail Ziggy for assassination instead of indiscretion.
You're a great sleuth, Sherlock. First you blamed Ziggy, and now poor me.
I began blaming you this morning when you made that telephone call. You see, again, it had to be you, because outside of Ziggy and myself, only you knew that the blackmail demand had been boosted to 150 G's.
But how could I phone? I was at the swimming pool all morning.
Except for the few minutes when you made that call. You see, I checked with the telephone company, and I found out about the handset that was lost when the repairman came to fix the phone. It wasn't lost, sweetheart. Antoine copped it, and he cut it in on the house circuit.
Antoine is an unusual handy man, isn't he?
Antoine was with the Signal Corps, remember? That's a fact, sweetheart, and you can't deny it. Or that Antoine was your boyfriend before you began playing Cranston. You may be a home girl, baby, but you're in the wrong home.
You're wrong about that, Dan. Just as you're wrong about the other thing. I don't love Antoine any more than I do Ziggy. In fact, I never loved anyone until yesterday.
Yeah? So what happened yesterday?
I met you. When I called you Samson, it meant something to me. He was a big guy who women couldn't resist. Darling, let's forget about blackmail and murder. Away from all these people.
That's not bad, baby. It's not bad at all. But as I remember my ancient history, that Delilah doll gave Samson boy quite a trimming. Don't you move. You stay right there. Sylvia and I have kissed and made up. Come in, boys.
Sylvia, I can't believe it. I don't know what to say.
Just see that you remember what you've heard. You're a witness.
He's a witness to what? I haven't admitted anything.
You don't have to. We pinched Antoine before we came here. He confessed the works, who shot Winslow and everything. He implicated you all the way up to your ears, kitten. He did it to save himself.
Why, that dirty French heel, getting out from under at my expense. What I did because of him. Not because of myself, but because of him.
He'll even swear you hatched the blackmail plot. You knocked off Carla and Winslow and hid the body.
That's a lie. He hid the body himself in Topanga Canyon. It was Antoine who...
For what?
Why, you dirty double-crossing bloodhound. You've been pitching me foul balls.
Never mind your hand, baby. Think what you put your foot into.
Right into the gas chamber.
Well, here's your bait back, sucker.
I'm still confused, Turner, but I am grateful. I don't know how to thank you.
Well, that I can show you. All I want is a slice of the bacon I helped bring home. My fee for saving you from this little romance will be $5 grand.
Stop around for a check in the morning.
Get your coat. Come on, hurry up.
Don't rush me.